Rotary International District Director-elect, not district, Rotary International Director, getting that today. Director-elect Chris Etienne back to continue with action plan priority number 4.
Thank you, Bob. Okay, thank you all for hanging in there. I know this has been a long day, but lots of interaction and lots of opportunity to connect, so it's been great. So we are on to our 4th action plan priority, which is increasing our ability to adapt. And what exactly does that mean? Stephanie talked about it earlier. We have shown throughout our history that we as Rotarians excel at finding ways to lead the world to lasting change. And Rotary members like you have proven in your own careers that you know how to help organizations of every kind move forward. This priority builds on our strengths. We need to look at how we can adapt more quickly to a changing world, how perspectives can strengthen Rotary, and what new ideas can do to create lasting change. We're ready to seek out fresh opportunities, create more paths to leadership, open up our conversation to diverse voices, and simplify how we operate. You heard earlier today that at the Rotary International level, we used to have 67 committees or something like that. I mean, good for us that we took it upon ourselves to figure out we don't need 67 committees to do the work that we're doing. And we as Rotarians, by using our collective global imaginations to bring new ideas to the fore, we'll create a strong foundation for innovations, for sustainability, and for growth. And now we have another short video for you.
Leaders in this time of accelerating change, we need to become more agile and responsive to what's relevant to communities. It's a big opportunity for Rotary and for all of us who are proud to be people of action. We can look at how our ability to communicate effectively, share resources, work collaboratively, and make decisions might be challenged by our operations or structures. We're working on streamlining our structure to fix the disconnects between clubs, districts, zones, and headquarters. We're discovering more of what's possible when we work together, not just as a collection of clubs, but a true global network of change makers. We don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. We can collaborate, partner, and be the place that connects people and organizations to get more accomplished. What can you do? Take a fresh look at your club. Is it time to peel away some of the layers you've added over the years and simplify how you operate? Invite community leaders outside of Rotary to your club board meeting to offer a new perspective. Adapting is also looking for new ways to collaborate with new partners who share our values and commitment, but who can challenge and help us innovate and grow more. Rotary is embedded and trusted within communities. It's what attracts potential partners who want to work with us. When we embrace opportunities to streamline, reimagine, and reinvigorate, we will see we can stay true to ourselves and stay ahead of change. Rotary's action plan. How can new perspectives strengthen Rotary?
So you all know that we as Rotarians tend to be inventive, entrepreneurial, and resilient. And that's why we are people of action. And because we share those qualities, new approaches to our organizing principles won't threaten our sense of who we are. Think about ways that we have adapted along the way. As you all know, we took on the challenge to eradicate polio in the mid-1980s. And this started from a 3H grant, Health, Hunger, and Humanity grant in the country of the Philippines. And we decided if we could eradicate polio from an island, we could also eradicate it from the world. But you know, our initial goal was to have polio eradication completed by 2005, which was the centennial of our organization. And that didn't happen. So we've had to adapt and we've had to adjust along the way because more challenges came into play. And we are truly getting this close with only 11 cases this year. And the hope is that we will see our final case maybe next year. One of the beauties of this is the 2028 convention, Rotary International Convention, is going to take place in Manila, in the Philippines. And you know, we have to be 3 years polio-free before we're officially certified. Wouldn't that be cool if we were celebrating in the Philippines, where it all started? stole that line from Marty Hellman, so don't tell him. But I love the thought. But I think back to when we started on this challenge to eradicate polio. And when I joined Rotary, I have to say, I really didn't know what polio was. I didn't have any family members that had polio. I didn't have anybody I grew up with that had polio. So it was really a learning experience for me. And I was fortunate that there's a past district governor in my own district that had gone on a national immunization day to India. I'm sorry, to Nigeria. Well, he'd been to India too, but he went with a small group to Kano, Nigeria. And there were 5 of them, and they all kept journals, and when they got back, they decided to write a book. So I heard Norm talking about his story, and he was selling his books, and I decided to buy one of his books. And before I got finished reading the book, I called him up and I said, I'm so inspired by this work that you've done, and I'm interested in having a similar experience. So he connected with me with people who were organizing national immunization day trips. And my first one was to India in 2004 with 176 people from across North America. It was somewhat like herding cats, but it was still an amazing experience. And we had Rotarians on the trip, we had spouses of Rotarians on the trip, we had a grandson of a Rotarian on the trip, we had family and friends of Rotary. Not everybody that was on the trip was a member of Rotary. And then my trip in 2015 to Nigeria was a small group of only 13 from North America, Canada and the US. We had 8 women and 5 men. Again, we had a Rotaractor with us. We had a family friend. We had spouses. But it gave us that opportunity to learn how Rotary was making a change in the world. That we were adapting the work we were doing toward polio eradication so that we would truly get to the finish line. And that we're not going to stop until it's completed. And when you think about our vision statement at the end where it says create lasting change in ourselves, those experiences that I had have changed my life forever. When I had the opportunity to give a 1-week-old little baby the polio drops, you just can't, it's hard to share what it means to you. And the smiles and the hugs they're so thankful, and they don't understand why you would take your own time and your own finances to travel halfway around the world to give a vaccine to their children. And it's because we want their children to have the same gift that our children have, and that's a polio-free world. You know, I was very proud of our organization, and Stephanie talked about this earlier with the pandemic and COVID-19 and how our Rotary clubs stepped up to the plate and adapted because we couldn't meet in person. Yes, there were a few that didn't quite figure out Zoom, and I think we lost a few along the way, but for the most part, we adapted and we learned how to do Rotary, even though we had to do it a different way. And I think that's created opportunities for our clubs to think even more about doing Rotary a different way. Whether it's a satellite club, whether it's meeting twice a month instead of 4 times a month. And we want to encourage clubs to think about, what do your members want? Not every Rotary club is going to be the same. We talked about regional adaptability. We want everybody that's going to do what's going to work in their community. And sometimes that might mean starting a new Rotary club. And Tom did a great job today of giving us lots of examples on how to do that. Another way that we adapted, I was so proud of the work of our Rotary Foundation trustees, because we had a disaster response fund. But the rules at the time for the disaster response fund weren't to just take money and throw it toward the pandemic and helping during the pandemic. So they made some quick decisions to allow Rotary clubs to apply for grants to immediately to be able to support communities during the pandemic. And that was with PPE supplies, that was with volunteering, that was providing financial support. So kudos to us for learning how to change quicker and make decisions in order to be effective and support our local and our global communities. And Rotary's also tackling some of the big operational issues, and you learned about this a little bit today. We're looking at governance models at the Rotary International level, committee structures, as you heard, business processes at the secretariat level, and even more. Everything is on the table. And you can also work to create a culture of research, of innovation, and willingness to take risks in your own club to better serve your community. But you don't have to do everything at once. Set a series of smaller goals so that you can monitor progress and iterate as you go. Are there changes happening in your own community where your club members can get involved? Are there new initiatives that you can support and be at the forefront? As your community adapts to changes, Rotary should be there at the forefront to help guide those changes. I am really proud of an initiative that the Rotary Club of Petoskey is getting involved in. Up in northern Michigan, we're very much a resort area, part of the state. And we have a problem with affordable housing, as I think many of our communities do. But because we're so resort oriented, the workforce that has to come to our area to be able, during the summertime primarily only, like May to September, and we bring in younger people, we bring in people who are there as seasonal workers. And they can make a decent living, but they can't afford a place to live. We have a real problem with affordable housing. And thanks to many of the communities in our area, there has been an affordable housing task force formed called Housing North. And a lot of the key organizations in the communities, including about 4 counties of our area, have formed this organization. And Rotary's at the table because this is a big need in our community and we want to be part of the solution. And I think lots of us have those opportunities in our own communities. Now, many of you have likely been through a deep dive into internal processes in your own companies or your organization. You know sometimes it isn't glamorous, but you also know it's absolutely essential if we want to create a strong foundation for innovation, sustainability, and growth. And as you know, continuity is also key. Encourage club presidents, encourage district leaders to work with the past leaders and the incoming leaders to make sure that their efforts are going to be cohesive and they'll be invested in a joint success. It's not my year, it's not Drew's year, it's not Louise's year, it's our year. And if we're working together, if we're rowing in the same direction, then we're gonna have more of an opportunity for success than if we're battling each other. Louisa talked about this the other, you got somebody going this way and somebody going this way. Think how much more we'd accomplish if we're all working in the same direction. And we've all seen it. One club president goes this way this year, and then the next club president goes this way next year, and then we're back to square one. So I think it's in everybody's best interest to understand the beauty of working together. Since Rotary primarily happens at the club level, we should also be encouraging our clubs to take a fresh look at their own club governance. Can roles be changed or reduced? Some roles can be combined? Are there committees that can be eliminated? Does the club leadership represent the many perspectives of your community? I know of some Rotary clubs that have 30 committees. Probably don't need them. So there is an opportunity to evaluate and take a close look at what do you really need. And here's some other ideas. Clubs can consider hosting a meeting in a new location and at a new time. You heard earlier, not everybody can make a lunch meeting. Not everybody can make a breakfast meeting. I'm not an early riser, but I was at the Rotary Club of Petoskey Sunrise 2 months ago, and at 7:15 in the morning, I'd never seen so much energy. And even though I'm not a morning person, they woke me up, no problem. And they were just full of energy, lively, they have a lot going on. It was an irresistible club meeting. Other things you can do is create new social events or fellowship opportunities. My club has what we call Thirsty Thursday. So the last Thursday of every month, we have a social gathering at a local pub or restaurant for anybody who wants to come to just sit around for an hour or two and network and have conversation. Everybody loves it. Another thing that your club could do, if sometimes clubs start their meeting at noon and they end at 1:30, maybe your club could shorten their meeting from an hour and a half to an hour, or even 45 minutes. Some of these clubs, they don't have a big meal and they start at, 8 o'clock and they adjourn at 8:45. So lots of opportunities to look at. You can also consider reducing or eliminating a meal, This breakfast meeting I went to, they don't have a big breakfast. They have bagels and coffee. So it's not very expensive. And as we all know, the meal cost can be some of the most expensive of being a member of Rotary. Another opportunity, I talked about this earlier, you could create a small fund to try new activities in your community, whether it be the new members of your club or just another committee that's gonna try something new. And here's an interesting idea. Consider involving non-members of your club at a club board meeting to gain a new and different perspective. People who know the community well, they might have things to offer, but don't let them leave without inviting them to join Rotary. We want our clubs to be innovative and open to change and remain relevant in their community, along with providing a meaningful club experience for their members. So together, let's stay true to ourselves and stay ahead of change in the next 118 years. Our clubs need to be intentional about putting the action plan to work at the club level. And I'm counting on all of you to help us do that. And as Stephanie mentioned earlier, we are creating a toolkit with the help of Rotary International staff. There are a lot of action plan resources already on the Rotary website, but we're creating some new ways to connect with people and provide them some activities that they can immediately implement at the club level without having to take on a big strategic planning process or a big evaluation process or a community assessment. We want to give them some easy to use tools to put the action plan to work quickly. So stay tuned on more to come with that. Appreciate all your support. Would love your help in identifying action plan champions at the club level and at your district level. So be thinking about that and feel free to connect with me at any time. And now we're back to Louisa for one last